Yo, all right. Big day today. Yes, I bottom ticked it. No, I did not hold the whole way. And yeah, I beat myself up a little bit about it, and I'll talk about how you can handle that in that situation as a trader. I'm going to talk about how 765 was my entry. Yes, literally the bottom. And I'm 7505. I also have been talking about this entire week as a level that I would assume, or not assume, but I would anticipate buyers to defend aggressively. And then I literally said I want buyers to defend 7505 and then target 75.90. That's literally the bottom and high of the day. Yeah, it's tough to look at because I only executed a fraction of it, and yeah, could have made a lot more money. But you know, there's gonna be plenty more trades in the future. That's how you have to look at it. You can't look at it as like, oh my god, you missed the big one. No. There's gonna be so many more big ones, especially in this market. So let's dive into it. Yeah, I marked it out there just for fun, just to show you. This was in the Discord that I'm in. No, it's not my Discord. It's yeah, if you know, you know. But yeah, I put 29,765 as the doll, I believe, and yes, I took it long. Yeah, I put that so this was like 2 hours before. I think an hour before or something, hour and a half, or hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes before it hit, roughly, because I think it hit right after midnight open. So that was 10 p.m. for me, and that was 8:43. And then yeah, I said after, yeah, and I took it long. Duh. And then also, I don't know, this picture went ad here, but it said it was too big. But yeah, this is me talking all week. So 7505 area. I was basically saying in this one, this is, I said game plan pretty simple, 7530 fail. 7540, 7530 basically fail down to 7505, test buyers, likely pivot hold 7590. It results in 7590. I think I don't know why I didn't track the rest of it. I was like, as long as 7550 holds after that, I believe I said. But yeah, ignore that I spelled losing wrong there too. But yeah, 7505 area, that's what I was looking for to hold. I said it multiple times. And yesterday when 7540 was failing right into Asia, I said 7505 area. Let's it's coming basically. So 765, how did I get it? Because I know people want to know, and I don't want to make this video too long, but I have a lot of things to talk about. So yesterday, pre-market manipulation, if you know, you know, standard deviation, 5-minute low, 5-minute high right there. It was very straight up news manipulation, and I love news manipulation, especially when it results in a move like that, because it's very accurate usually. I can usually track out the end of that move. So 5-minute low, 5-minute high, get down here. That's why I was looking at it. Right there. 76875 actually. I think I said 765 just because I like that number better, and I always plan on a little overshoot. And it literally was just a little overshoot. It went to 763. So yeah. So that's that standard deviation level. And yeah, what I was hoping for, and this is what I planned on, so it made sense, was the SMT, because you're looking for an SMT to happen. Well, there's multiple factions too. So YM2, yeah, I took out Monday low, but where is it? Oh yeah, the weekly open was like way up there. So YM is, that's a huge SMT basically with YM. But what I was hoping for was, ES would make a low. It would take out this low from Tuesday, and that NQ would not. And that would be, my sign right there. And sure enough, yeah, it did, 7505. So same thing I marked out earlier in the week, Monday manipulation right there at the highs. There was an SMT, so I mark it out. And 4 standard deviation lined up with this previous range POC of this little range right here. That was the end of the week. So I always mark up previous range value areas. So that lined up right there. So yeah, I was just like, this area should hold, since we gapped up like this. If we still have yet to hit the 75.90, which has been my overall target for the week, for a little bit actually. Yeah, I guess it's really going back for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so after this range filled out, I was looking at this TR pocket as possibly the end of this kind of move. We'll see what happens from there. So yeah, 75.90 was the target. That's why 75.90 was a target, like I was saying in the chat there, and I think I said it on X too. I also posted on X about the longs that I took as well from last night, so I haven't just kept it to Discord. I just said a little bit after. But yeah, so that's the move I was looking for it to happen up there. So I was looking for this manipulation down if we were going to eventually move up from there, because it just didn't look like buyers were initiating from anything in here. Like it just, there's a up, fail, nothing. So this was just, look at this, like just zigzag back and forth, you know, trying to disguise what the actual move is. And I still think this is a manipulation, but we'll see. So we hit this POC right there, lines up the 4 standard deviation. Again, when you have all these lines here, you know, these standard deviations, it's what do they line up with? So right now at all-time highs, it's really easy looking down because you can see what do they line up with. You can match it back on order flow too. What do they line up with? So yeah, right at open, it's just from the get-go. If I don't get involved in Asia unless we hit a standard deviation level, like for a reversal. That's like one of my rules, because otherwise you can, you know, Asia's just it's usually a lot of chop. Every now and then you'll get a move in Asia, but the odds are not in your favor. So I keep it to, if it's at a standard deviation extension like 4.55, then I'll take it, because that is usually an overextended move, and no matter what in Asia, it's going to revert at least back into the mean range, or that'll be a reversal point, and then you know, it'll come close, but it won't touch it for London and Asia. So you see right at the end of the day yesterday, Wednesday, 1K lot sold right at the end of the day, like literally right at the end. So that was a sign for me. But yeah, I've stuck to my rules, and you know, I'm not going to trade it, even though price just continued to reject off of it. It was really choppy, kind of at open, a lot of chop. You know, not really sure what it wants to do, but if you're looking at it, I would just be with that seller and then just, you know, rejects, goes down from there. Comes down all the way down here, and then we hit that 7505 layer, 7505.75 area, right at midnight open. So that is another key open, so very valid. What do we got here? There we go. All right, so let's just go back to NQ for a sec, because that's what I took. I took NQ. Look right there. See these little spikes in sell volume right there? Yeah. That's what I want to see at a reversal point. If price doesn't continue past it, that's a good look. So we come down into 10 a open, 10 a.m. Oh, Jesus Christ, 10 a.m. open. Right there. Sorry, I'm just talking too fast now. I just don't want this to take forever. But yeah, 163 lots sold. These are big numbers on NQ. Anything over 100 lots, anything over 75 lots, generally pretty big. So over 100 lots in Asia session, it's big. So going down, selling through there, nothing. So yeah, no continuation after that. So these could be stop outs, I don't know. But look at that. That's an aggressive seller right there. That's an aggressive market order sell. So that could likely be a stop out there if it's set for a market order. I don't know. But either way, price does not continue down after that. And look at, you know, if you look at, where is it? Where are we at? Tito. Oh, further back, over here. So same thing, you see a big sell at the bottom there on ES. But here's where you see this divergence here. This is what I love to see at reversal points. This is why I was getting all horny about it. You look at this. So look at the delta. Delta is very negative. Look at the cumulative delta, CVD, just super negative. That was another reason why I saw this being a squeeze, but I was waiting for buyers to really like show me, you know, because I was like, if we're gonna see, I guess it's more of, if this was a true move up, you would see really a change in direction on CVD. You'd see a lot of buying. Squeezes happen oftentimes when there's just a lot of participants caught on the wrong side, and then you get a market participant, an aggressive market participant that just pushes price in the other direction, and it forces a lot of the weak holders out. So you see here selling into the lows, and then you see 1, 2, 3 in a row. That's a great look. Sometimes just one is like nothing, but you see 3 5-minute candles in a row with a decent amount more contracts sold than bought. So there's the divergence on the delta. So still in the negative on the delta, but price is finishing green each time. So that shows right there, there's been absorption, and then there's a buyer that's trying to start an initiation, that they've filled their bags and they do not really want to spend much more time down around here, and they're really pushing against an aggressive seller. So sellers are still selling aggressively. That's why there's more contracts sold than bought. But buyers are not even just absorbing anymore. They're pushing the other way. So they're not even letting it price down there. So yeah, likely here's your initial, you know, sneaky buyer down there that said no mas. And then, you know, retest that level on both. I've been through these enough before where I know it's not just, I would love for it to just hit my level V shape and be gone. But oftentimes, if you really want it to be a good bottom, you're going to have to deal with a lot of this. You're going to have to deal with the retests of the levels and stuff, because that's really solidifying that it is not going to go any lower than that. You've already had a lot of interaction here, and a buyer, in this case, a buyer has already staked their claim, and they're like, no, we're not coming back here again, so we're gone. And then a good initiative move off of that. So yeah, same thing, aggressive market buyer at that point right there, 153 lots right there. So that's nice and balanced to see coming out of there. And then as soon as we see this, I see an aggressive seller trying to hold price down, 109 contracts down there. So they're trying to hold it down, and then immediately buyer just, rockets above them, just clears them, no issue, and then just takes off. So, and then if you're looking for re-entries on this, I know a lot of people, when they're looking at gaps to re-enter on, they're like, so where should I re-enter? Where's a good re-entry point? Well, if you don't have order flow, if you don't have footprint charts, just pull out your fib. That'll give you your best entry right there. All right. That'll give you your best entry right there. So yeah, golden pocket right here, 0.618, 0.69. That's how I have my golden pocket set up. That actually could have given you a better entry if you just put yourself right in the middle there, yeah, because some people look at this entire gap. It's also an hourly gap. So yeah, that's how you find this is what ICT calls OTE, whatever. But what does that line up with? Stacked imbalance right here. 75.18, 75.19, stacked imbalance is right there. So that, when you see that, so stacked imbalance like that, in this case on the buyer side, because that's on the bid. So when price moves, as it's initiating out, so buyers made their claim already, and now this is their strong move away. They're going, I'm done being down there. We're gonna push up, we're gonna distribute higher, we're gonna balance higher, whatever. So that is their kind of strong push out of the range. A seller was attempting to hold in this range, and they're like, nope, we're breaking out. So that's a strong initiation above. So that's where I'd line it up with, that lines up perfectly with, golden pocket. The bottom one is the one I always take. So that would have been 75, 1850. So that actually would have been a little bit, so golden pocket would have given you a better entry, honestly, than that. But yeah, so I'd look for these guys to hold, this area to hold. And then we get this retest pre-market. Again, big sellers trying to pile in here, lots of volume. Look, Delta goes very negative again. Sellers trying to pile in. We hit those initiative buys from before, golden pocket area. There you go. That's what you look for. Push up, and then we just push up into pre-market. You get there's actually some big buying going on right here in pre-market. I think this is right around Flash. Was it Flash? Flash services, manufacturing services, yeah. So debatable if I believe those numbers, but whatever, who cares? Yeah, so big numbers coming in there on the buys. Look at that, 1.1K lots. That's quite the imbalance there. So you want that to hold. Yeah, and then New York comes in, and yeah, they're going to test you for sure. Again, look at the delta here. Look at how negative that went. And then we just see this key area holding, and then sure enough, big buyers step in. They're going, oh yeah, there's gonna be news, and there's news. Here's the news candle right there. So these guys probably knew. Yeah, so big buys right there, and you see price fly, takes off. So yeah, there's nuance to this stuff. Why did I get tripped out? Why did I exit? So I exited for literally we'll call it about 100 points. Yeah, and it went 500, it's rough to see, but yeah, I got tripped out because, do I not have it on here anymore? Let me just mark it up again. So this range, so I'm going to take yesterday's low to high, right there. So it's kind of overlapping. I'm just going to get rid of the other one for now. So here's the low, right? So we're not that low. When's it low? When's it high? Right there. So that's what I take right there. I mark it out. Low to high right there with the TR. Oh, so that's the issue. Yes. When it comes down, so yeah, it made sense that it held that level, 4 standard deviation, previous range POC, yeah, that level makes sense that it holds. But just me, you know, I love to have all the things line up. I want them all to line up for me to just be like full on in it. And I'm going to remember this for next time, because I'm going to remember that price is king. And, you know, it's not always going to hit your perfect fib levels, maybe not even all your perfect standard deviation levels. You know, it might come just shy, it might just go a little over, whatever. At the end of the day, price is king, volume's king. So yeah, it did not come and tap this TR pocket. It didn't even tap this naked POC that I had set here. In a perfect world, yeah, 75.05 area is what I want to hold. But I'm fine with it overshooting into 75.03 area, into this TR pocket and this naked POC. If all those things happen, you know, yeah, I would have held it. Because I would have said, yeah, it's already been tested. But because, so one part of kind of this, it's not even a strategy that I have, but just what I see over time, how it works out, is when the golden pocket gets breached like that, when it just gets ran through, oftentimes it results in the TR pocket. So if that fails, you can pretty much assume TR pocket's going to happen. And it's high likelihood, very high likelihood. So this is a real, what do you call it? Well, it's, you know, it's a, not extension, but, you know, not a fallacy, but just, it's an outlier. That's what it's called. So yeah, it's a real outlier of this strategy, so that it did not hit, because it almost always does. So that is what tripped me out. So when it came back up here into London and struggled like this during London session, during the kill zone of London, I'm worried it's making highs, and that we're actually going to have New York come down, retest, and then like that would have been also a perfect daily profile. It would have been so simple. You know, New York opens right here, let's say, boom, comes down, and then we take out London, Asia, boom, boom, boom. So that daily profile makes total sense to me. So yeah, this was, you know, you just chalk it up to whatever, you know, it just turned out to be a perfect continuation. Yeah, it just came down, retested the golden pocket, and then gone. And on NQ, it just came down and tested the 0.5, which is, if you're looking for retracement, you at least want the 0.5 to hit in a normal performing market. So yeah, that is why I exited early. You know, I've talked to people about this. If the math works out over time, if you just leave partials, sure, sometimes you'll be very happy you fully exited. Sometimes I'll exit here and it'll come right back down and it'll scoop lower and I'll be able to get an even lower price and then ride it and I'll be ha ha ha, you know, whatever. But over time, the amount of times if you catch a move like this, just you leaving partials, like if you really are thinking, oh, I might have just caught a bottom here, which NQ hitting the 4.5 should have been like the tell for me. That is I love that for a reversal. You know, hindsight 2020. But yeah, when you think you might have caught the bottom or the top, just leave some runners. The math works out over time. Trust me. I had a really good friend that's a great trader, and I always bugged him about it for the longest time. And now I'm taking my own advice. He would always leave money on the table, especially in crypto where things would run like thousands of %. You know, and he would trade leverage crypto and he would just kill him. He would just be so upset being like, dude, I could have, you know, this could have been like 40, 50 grand, like, you know, kind of thing. And I'm just like, man, just take partials and leave the runners. The math works out over time. So this is another lesson for me, to leave partials. Just let it run, you know, take my profits, secure partial profits for the day. Set my stop, you know, for me, it would have been below 800, or around 800. I wouldn't have wanted to see that breached. If it did, that would have been below the golden pocket. That would have been, yeah, just way too low for me to be comfortable with. And then I would have just looked for a re-entry at that point. So yeah, in that scenario, just, you know, just do that instead. And then you can just either look for a re-entry or you're safe and you get you know, some of your partials catch this entire move. That would have been the play. So yeah, how to deal with the psychology of it. Oh, let me just, well, I mean, I can dive into NQ and then just like the open of it, I guess, if you really want. It was pretty simple, honestly. Oh yeah, so we had that huge move. This was all pre-market, right? Yeah, that was pre-market. Wow. And then just dump into New York. So, um, yeah, that was interesting right there. But anyways, yeah, market open right here. Pretty simple with like God, this was so simple. I was sleeping for this because I was just like, I caught my move and I was like, whatever, look for a re-entry if I have to. But I just needed sleep. So that's another thing too. I got to just be awake for these New York sessions. I can't be staying up all night during London session, kind of nursing my trade along kind of thing. It's, hindsight again. If I would have just gotten the trade, gone to bed, I would have been so chilling. But yeah, New York Open's pretty straightforward. Heavy delta dump, really, really diving into here strongly. And then we don't really see much for sellers. We just see buyers. Look at that. When you see big buys at the lows like this, when you see big buys coming in right here, like, that is just, God, even looking at this now, I'm just like, duh, this is such a duh long. And then just hold, and then there's your news. Boom. There you go. What is that? 9. So I would have entered probably, as soon as I would have waited for the first 15, that's part of my rule set. And then you see another big buyer come in. Yeah, I probably would have entered right there. 965, and there you go. Boom. Went 300 points. Just over 300 points. Yeah, you could have 350 points or something like that if you just really just held it all day after that news. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. Came down if you're like, oh, where would I catch my retest here? Well, here's this buyer initiating along the way. Big buys in there. You want those buys to hold after this news candle happens. You want this level to hold. So seller tries coming in there. Nope, no dice, and just holds right there. Pretty simple. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, like I think I already mentioned it, but yeah, you see, look at this. Look at that. Stacked imbalances on the lows, and then price immediately moves away from it. Fuck. Ugh, my God, it's so obvious. Can't believe I was sleeping for that. That's just brutal. Sorry, I'm seeing some of this like for the first time as well. I'm just diving into it. But yeah, very interesting thing though. Let's talk about the psychology of it, because I know traders struggle with this. I know traders also will mark out moves that they think will happen. They don't take the trade, and then they look at it and they're like, oh my freaking God, I could have made so much money, like whatever. I could have gone on this vacation. I could have whatever. Like they'll just torment yourself for days over it. You'll just think about it. You'll think about it all day. And I caught myself today for a little bit. I was like, I just kept thinking, oh my God, I wouldn't, this would have been for the size that I was in, the accounts, this would have been almost 20K day for me. So yeah, could have, I was thinking about it a lot. I was like, I can't believe that, I can't believe I missed out on that kind of thing. But I've been through this before. I know what I need to do after that. The immediate steps you need to take after that, when you start thinking like that, is, can I do anything about it now? No, you can't. Can you rewind time and go back and retake the trade? No, you can't. Okay, so logically, what is the point of being mad about it? So that is step one, is just like, it's already done, it's over, it's in the past. Move on. You can't act like this is this was the big one that you missed, This isn't, Bitcoin at $200, okay, or anything. Like, there's going to be so many other large moves. Trust me, the way this market is acting, there's going to be a lot of large moves, especially to the downside when it happens. So don't act like this is never going to happen again, because another bad thing that happens, and this is why, when the move starts to work out like that, in most cases, I was sleeping in this case, but I will lock myself out, because you'll start to operate from the mentality of not even just getting the money back that you lost because you didn't lose any money, but it's almost worse in some cases. You're trying to get money back that you believe is yours, that you believe you deserve. You're like, I deserve that money. I need to get it back. I'm going to oversize so I can still make that same P&L, right? That's a bad mentality to be in too. So you don't want to do that either. That is really, really bad. So in that case, if you start to feel yourself feeling like that, I caught it. It was another trader that showed me that. And he's like, as soon as I feel those feelings of, I deserve that money, he's like, it's almost wired in my brain where I don't give it a second thought. I just immediately go to the lockup button. That is what separates professionals from retail, for sure. He just, almost like a robot, he just recognizes those feelings and is just like, oh, that's not good, button, lockout, done. And now we can't even do anything, can't even act on those feelings. Give yourself the minimal amount of time you can to ruminate and act on a tilt feeling. That is like the best idea for psychology. And if you really need to take this a step further, if you cannot stop thinking about it, you need to think about this other thing. I can't remember which fallacy it is, but it came from Gary Vee. But I'll use an extreme example. So sure, could have made almost 20K in this trade. Yes. A bunch of my friends this summer have been getting bikes. My mom is very against bikes, motorcycles we're talking about. She worked in the hospital for years and she's seen horrific injuries, and I've gone back and forth with her a couple times on it. But yeah, a bunch of my friends have been getting bikes and I've been tempted to join them and just be like, yeah, maybe I will as well. And I don't think I will, but I'm just saying this is an extreme example so you could form it in your own way. I make this money, whatever, I take it out. I go and buy myself a bike. Maybe not next week, maybe not the week after, maybe not the month after, maybe next year. In that motorcycle, or yeah, maybe it is next week, you don't know. I get in a car crash, I die. I get paralyzed. I lose a limb. You cannot assume that because you missed out on something, that missing out on that something would have yielded you a better life in any way. You can't assume that your life would have been dramatically better in that situation. There's 1,000 other examples I could use for what I could have spent that money on, for how it could have negatively affected me, and I just don't know it. The natural assumption in our case, and in a lot of cases in life, is to assume, especially with money, that had you gotten that money, that your life would have been in a measurable way better. That is not guaranteed in any way. So do not think that. Gary Vee's case, I think he said, he passed up on the angel round vesting of Uber and he could have been a billionaire. And he was like, yeah, who knows? Maybe there was a board meeting in whatever that I needed to fly to. I fly there, I take a taxi from the airport, I get in a car crash, I die. You don't know. You have no idea how your life could have worked out had that thing happened. So next time that happens to you, try and think like that. Just be like, there's no guarantee that this would have improved my life. Maybe for a short time being, but I might have resulted in me doing something with that money that would have negatively impacted me. You do not know that. Sure, it could have worked out better. You don't know that. You can't assume. But I'm just saying, get out of the mindset of assuming that, you just missed out. Just get out of that mindset. It's not a good mindset to be in. So that's all on the psychology of that standpoint. From here, where are we looking? And then this will be the end of the video because this is a longer video, and I'm sorry about that, but there's a lot to talk about in this video. So I'm going to delete that, get rid of anything that is no longer necessary. So I hate that I can see this too, but you're going to see pattern traders go like this. I can't remember, there's a foghorn or whatever, expanding, some type of horn, I don't know, at whatever, hits there and then goes down. I hate that. I hate that I see that because that means retail traders are staring that, which likely means it's too obvious and it might not work out. But I'm still going to be ready on many fronts for tomorrow to be a sell day. Go back to order flow. Let's take a look here. Look at the CVD. So when you see a move like this, when you see a reversal like this on arguably very bullish news, the CVD, I want to see this thing totally flip. I want to see people go, oh my God, we're so wrong. And this go hella positive. Why isn't it doing that? NQ, it came close, but it still finished negative. So is this just traders that were just like, oh, whatever for the day? No, they're holding their positions. A lot of these early sellers around here, how far back does this go? Anyways, a lot of these early sellers back here are holding. That is interesting to me. I don't see CVD flipping. So that's what I'd really want to see. So one thing I'm going to be looking for the bullish scenario, for this to be a continuation, is I want to see a lot of buying coming out of the gate. I want to see CVD totally flip. I want to see like, oh my God, we've been so wrong. Yeah, look at that. Just very, very negative. Does this go back to the start of the week here? Now I'm just tracking it. Oh yeah, so like yeah, that's on the weekly. Or no, that's the 26th. So that's from Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, Tuesday. So anyways, so yeah, there's a lot of sellers that they look like they're holding. So that's very interesting to me. I really, with a news like that, again, yeah, you just assume that you would see a kind of holy crap moment. We're wrong, and a large spike in CBD, a lot of buying. Instead, there was a ton of selling. Today, overall, I went through today on I just like, whatever. Do I do it now? Sure, I guess I can. So go on the 4-hour. Look at this. We're hitting these highs and selling. This is majority selling. So we today, for the hours that we care about, as price moved up into here, majority sells. 10K lots more sold than bought over the last 8 hours. That is very, very freaking interesting. So we'll see, because we're heading right into this TR pocket of this range. On this end of this extension, the 5 standard deviation, sometimes it goes a little over. It might go a little over, especially, we don't know. Anywhere in this zone tomorrow, if I see a seller appear, a big seller appear, one that protects their price, when they get involved, the price no longer goes above it, I will probably buy weekly puts, I'm going to be honest. Because yeah, this whole thing seems so shady to me. There was the deal with Iran, that got announced this morning. Trump still hasn't signed it, so there's still things that he needs to consider. Oh, we're in crisis mode right now. I don't think if you don't understand with the Strait of Hormuz being closed and the energy shortages that are piling up around the world, North America, yeah, we're chilling, we're lucky. The rest of the world, not so lucky. There are countries that are already conserving energy. Australia already telling people, if you do not need to go anywhere, don't, because we literally we're on the fumes right now, as far as their actual gas and oil supply. So yeah, very worrisome already. The Strait still will take a long time to clean up all the mines. The insurance companies still need a lot of proof that this is done, that they don't need to worry about there being any looming war or anything, for them to still insure ships going through there. We'll probably see government intervention soon on that front too, where governments might force insurance companies to still cover. I don't know how that would work out. That's really also debatable, and legalities, and I have no idea. But yeah, there's still, and already the amount of inflation that we're about to see that is baking in currently, that we don't yet have the data for, really, or that I don't know if the data is not being presented to us. I have no idea, but it's building. So I still fail to see the super cycle that people are talking about. Consumer sentiment is at rock bottom. We have never seen such a divergence between consumer sentiment and the price of the market. It is insane. And that's all just because of AI. So unless AI has some crazy, general AI, AGI breakthrough that is just going to put us into a world of abundance, I don't understand. I don't see it. I think it's just going to reverse. And this might be too obvious, and that might be exactly why it works. But just don't go on that. Just if you got footprints, and you got order flow data, just track the sellers, track the buyers, see who's winning. That's the simplest way to put it. 7,600, 7090, 7,600, anywhere in and around there, maybe even a little overshoot into 7,620. I'll be looking for a seller to appear tomorrow. We will see. But that is all for now. We're actually about to have Asia open, so it's going to be very interesting. So I will look for, if we're going to look for possible reversal, daily profile, what does that look like? You want to see kind of trickle down, come back in, test maybe Monday highs. So maybe actually 75, 70, 75, 60 area. Maybe holds overnight, and we climb from there. Again, if we're going to reverse, we're assuming New York's getting the reversal. So that's what it would look like kind of from there. I'd like to see essentially Asia make a low, London make I don't know, Asia make a low, maybe London make a high, and then New York higher high. Because I don't think what we're going to see is, Asia low to London low to New York and then down. That's possible. I don't really see that happening. There's a lot of time in between this. This is all for a sell side case as well. The bullish case is that it trickles up, and then we revert down and maybe push up again. I don't know, something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, look for a level here to hold like 75, 60 area. Look for that to hold overnight. Like Asia, kind of London. And then we would look for a sell day on New York tomorrow. And I think the sell day might look like just a sell day, but they might be like, oh, it's just a normal reversion, and then we'd see continue selling next week. We'll see. We will see tomorrow. Anyways, yeah, wow, longer video. There's a lot of useful information in there, so I hope it helped. And yeah, everyone trade safe. This market is very overextended, and yeah, this it's hard to trade with this news, I know, but that's why Orderflow is the GOAT. All right, take care. Bye.